Hey guys, end of another month, so it's time to take care of a few random things. Quite a few things on the list today, so we'll get into it. The first one is just talking about the videos that we're making at the moment. We're trying to stick to our main goal, which has always been for the last 10 years to make videos about anything and everything about Japan. So whatever we see or hear or anything that we think's of interest about Japan, we show you guys. So we're sticking to that. We are doing a few little different things though, like this, just because we know some people are looking for sort of an escape or a change of scene from what they've been looking at every day. So lots of people stuck in their homes aren't getting a change of scenery, and then a lot of videos on YouTube at the moment are all about the same topic. So just trying to give people a bit of an alternate, a bit of a different view, bit of scenery to look at. So that's why we've been making a few videos a little bit different from what we usually do, while trying to stick to the Japan theme, just doing things a little bit differently like this, just to give you a little bit of outdoor activity. So there's that. What else are we going to do? We're going to give away some stuff. We've got to talk about English Friendly Japan. Oh, I've got to apologise for the delay with the mail. That's another thing. We've been sending people things, but obviously because there's less flights from Japan at the moment, a lot of the airmail is being delayed. So when we've been posting things, the post office have been making a big point of telling us, look, you know, this is going to take a long time to get where it's going. So probably none of you are surprised by that, but just anybody that we've said that we're sending you things, we have sent them, but we just have to be patient. So our response to the post office was, that's fine, if you just do your best, you know, we'll just post it and eventually it'll get there, you know. If we don't post it, it'll never get there. So we're posting it now, we're not going to wait, we'll post it now and it'll get there when it gets there, won't it? But it'll get there eventually. So having said that, probably a good time to give away some stuff. So we'll start with some books because that's on top of the pile at my feet here. So our book, How to Do Stuff in Japan. Those of you who haven't seen the book yet, you might want to check it out if you're interested in Japan or just want something to read because you've got a bit of spare time at the moment. Highly recommend this. You can either get the book sent to you or you can get the ebook online. Ebook's cheaper, of course. Get the ebook online, check it out. So if you're interested in Japan, you're bound to find this interesting. If you're coming to Japan at some stage in the future, definitely read this first. Because one of the most common comments we get about this is, I wish I'd read that before I went to Japan. Now I know why I made that mistake. So if you're coming to Japan, please read this first. Speaking of the feedback we get about the book too, if you've read the book already, we'd really appreciate it if you could give us a book review. So there's a link in the description of this video to where you can actually buy the book, but also you can leave a review there if you've read the book already. If you can leave your review so that people know what you think of it and whether you think it was worth reading or not, what you got out of it, or if you got anything out of it, that'd be really good. Just to give some feedback for the other people, leave a review, that'd be really good. So we're going to send a signed copy of that book to Julie. Julie's going to get one copy of this book, and oh yeah, this guy's name, Revere. Is it Revere? Sorry man, I'm sorry, Revere. I hope we got that right. So we're sending copies to those two guys. Now again, this isn't random giveaway stuff, these are benefits on Patreon. So Patreon doesn't allow random giveaways. YouTube doesn't let us have comments for more than a day or so we can't do giveaways on YouTube. So these aren't random giveaways, these are benefits to the people on Patreon. So we owe these guys these things. So Julie's going to get one, Revere's going to get one signed copy. Also, we owe a couple more people as well. So there's been a delay in us getting our copies from the publisher. When we get them, we're going to send them out to a couple of other people as well, probably the end of next month. Sorry about that. We just have to all be patient at the moment, don't we? So that copy of those books going to those guys. And then one more person, Chi Chi. Chi Chi is going to get a copy, signed copy of the book. Plus, we're going to send Chi Chi this. This, obviously, it's a pot for green tea. So it's old. We found it in the old house, but it was wrapped up in paper. We don't believe it's actually been used, but it is old. But it's sort of probably the sort of thing that you put on a shelf. It's probably not terribly practical. I don't know how much tea you'd actually get in that little pot, but it's sort of a thing you might put on a shelf, isn't it, if you're into Japanese stuff. It's got that little image on that side, and it's got that little image on that side. So we've actually got two of these. So we're going to send one to Chi Chi with a signed copy of our book. But we've got a second one of these we're going to put on eBay, just in case there's someone out there who wants one of these. So we found those two. Some of you might remember a long time ago we found them in a box at the old farmhouse. We showed you a long time ago, maybe 8 years ago. So that's going to go to those guys. And then what else we got? So what, eBay, yep, review the book, yep, oh yeah, okay, and some more stuff for Ken. So Ken's been a supporter of the channel for years, really kind and generous supporter of the channel for a very long time. Ken's also on Patreon as well. So we're going to send Ken some stuff. Now, Ken actually used to live in Japan. You might see Ken's comments on our videos sometimes. Ken knows a lot about Japan. He lived here for a long time. He studied a lot of stuff about Japan. He really knows what he's talking about. If you see a comment from Ken, you'll probably be informed by it, because he really knows what he's talking about. Ken said he wants one of these. So we'd actually run out of these. We've still got the toily ones and the no smoking ones. We'd run out of this one. So we went looking and we found one for Ken. But we don't want to just send Ken that, because that's a bit sort of lame, isn't it? Just sending that one little thing in the post. So no doubt Ken's seen all these things and probably had these things at different times in his life, but we're going to send it to him anyway for a bit of nostalgia, Ken. This is for you for a bit of nostalgia. So those of you who haven't seen this before, it's sort of like a little propeller on a stick. So it's a kid's toy, but it's sort of old style kid's toy made of bamboo. So send Ken one of those. He's no salesman. That's his no salesman, by the way. His no salesman sign that he wanted. The spinny propeller thing. Our old style paper blow up Japanese style balloons in the shape, watermelon design, rock melon design, one of those. There's a little bit of spring for you, Ken. Just a fold out spring card. And again, usually these things that we send people, they're just token things, but they're just sort of little bits of Japan, aren't they? And some fake food, a little sushi there on a key ring. So just small token things, you know. We can't thank the guys on Patreon, can't thank them enough. So it's just little things for Ken there, just as a way of thanking Ken for your support. We really appreciate your support, Ken. So while we're speaking of that too, look, as you can imagine, you know, with the way things are around the world at the moment, but in Japan in particular recently, our real job has just about died. So as a young family, we're really struggling at the moment. So our part-time job, which was our Japan channel, was our part-time job, has become more of an important part-time job for us now. So we've actually been putting more time into it, and spending more time making videos and more time taking photos and putting more effort into what we're doing for the Japan channel at the moment, as a way of thanking our supporters on Patreon for your support, because that support has become so important. It was always important to us to allow us to continue to do what we do, but it's become really important now, because we're really struggling, as a lot of people are. You know, we're not pretending our situation's any worse than anyone else's, but you know, as a young family, really struggling to pay the bills, and if it wasn't for Patreon, don't know what we'd do. So again, those people who are supporting us on Patreon, thank you very much. If you are a patron already and you can step up your support at all, we'd really appreciate it. It really helps us continue to do what we're doing and to pay the bills. And then if you're not on Patreon already, if you could consider supporting us on Patreon, you know, it helps us continue to make videos and take photos and do what we do. But also it allows you to communicate with us, because that's where we do a lot of our talking with the other people who watch the videos, and different topics get discussed on there and things like that as well. So if you're not on Patreon already, really appreciate it if you have a look at that. There'll be a link in the description of this video to our Patreon page. There are two people who don't like to be on Patreon, so they actually support us directly through PayPal. We welcome that as well. We prefer Patreon because we can keep track of it better, and as far as giving you guys your benefits and sending you things and keeping track of it, it is easier to do that on Patreon. But by the same token, we're happy for any support we can get. So those of you who want to support us directly on PayPal, we really welcome that as well. So that's probably just about it. Oh yeah, there's another one too. We're not the only people struggling, of course. There's a lot of small businesses in Japan who are struggling as well. And we're particularly interested in the ones that are foreigner owned and English friendly. And those of you know already, we have our English friendly directory. And there are a lot of small businesses on there that, you know, owned by really good people, and a lot of them are just small young families like ours that own these little businesses, and a lot of those are really struggling. So what we're doing there is the ones that are still able to trade, we're really pushing them. Some of them, like the bars and restaurants and cafes and things, have switched to takeaway menus instead of dine-in, instead of eating in and drinking in. They're doing takeaway type stuff. So those that are doing that, we're really spreading the word about them as much as we can. So if you're not, if you use Facebook and you haven't already checked out our English Friendly Japan page, please check it out. There'll also be a link underneath this video in our description to our Facebook English Friendly Japan page. So if you could follow us on there, and there's things that you can do. If you're not in Japan, there's things like candy and fake food and things like that you can buy online. And if you are in Japan, there's things like beer and wine you can have delivered to your house. And if you're stuck at home, beer and wine, not a bad way to start. And candy and things like that. So check out our English Friendly Japan Facebook page. And if you're not following it already, you know, if you can follow that, help support those small businesses there, because, you know, this will all pass, won't it? You know, but for a lot of us who live the way we live, you know, a month without income is just devastating, you know, and some of these other guys are in the same sort of situation with their small businesses, you know, a month or two without income or with reduced income can be the end of them, you know, and they've got families to support and they're struggling too. So, you know, any of you that are still working and are still got your normal incomes happening, because we know some of our viewers too are struggling. We've lost some patrons because of it as well, and we totally understand that, people who don't have any income. But those of you who do, who can help those who don't, would be really, really appreciated. So that's probably it for today. Looks like we've got it all covered there. So that's it for today. Those of you who we're sending stuff to, please be patient. We don't know how long it'll take to get to you, but it will get to you. We'll be posting it all off this week, and, you know, eventually it'll get there. So if you let your postal people know that it's coming, particularly in the States, we find a lot of stuff bounces back, which would be tragic. You know, wait a couple of months for it to turn up, then it turns up and then gets sent back again to us. We've had that happen before. Send off a box or something, little things, you know, and they go halfway around the world and then come halfway around the world back again and reappear on our doorstep a month later. Oh no, because the post person couldn't find the recipient or something. So anyway, that's enough of that. Time to enjoy this scene. This is a Shinto shrine, and we managed to get through it without anybody walking through, which is really good. So the last how long? Last couple of minutes of this video, just leave you in peace, just to enjoy this scenery. More videos coming soon.